A very good evening to you all and welcome to Rwanda Television News with me, Sam Kalisa. Rwanda's parliament has announced the recent resolutions made by the European Parliament on the country. A total of 14 articles in the resolution were agreed upon by the European parliamentarians, including one that states that the defendant Paul Rusesabagina will not get justice here in Rwanda. Rwanda's parliament has pointed out that such behavior is a clear infringement of another country's judicial independence. Serge Nore kickstarts tonight's bulletin with this report.
Basanze kandi uriya mwanzuro uvogera usugire n'imikorere by'inzego z'igihugu cyacu.
The 14 articles, part of a resolution passed on the 11th of this month of February and focusing on Paul Rusesabagina, basically called the defendant an internationally decorated hero who could not get justice in Rwanda. The resolutions were examined by Rwanda's Parliamentary Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Security in the Senate and the Committee on Foreign Affairs and Cooperation in the Chamber of Deputies, and this is what the chairperson of the latter had to say. The members of the committee found the resolutions to be full of lies and is generally geared towards criticizing our institutions and meddling in Rwanda's justice system, using Paul Rusesabagina's case as an excuse to do so. The members also found the resolution to infringe on the sovereignty and functioning of our country's institutions. The resolution was also found to disregard the principle of judicial independence, as well as deny and negate the 1994 genocide that was perpetrated against Tutsis, basing on the terms used in it. The members also observed that the resolution gives itself the right to issue directives towards court cases that are still ongoing, yet this is not something that can be done in their own countries. Rwandan parliamentarians have also pointed out that the European Parliament ignored the innocent lives that were lost as a result of the FLN attacks in Rwanda, a group part of the coalition of parties that calls itself the MRCD, that was led by Paul Rusesabagina, who also took responsibility for their attacks.
But they also ignored the fact that Rusesabagina himself admitted that he provided support to the FLN group that is fighting the government of Rwanda and has continued to claim Rwandan lives. Honorable Speaker, it's unfortunate that such a person who has openly admitted to supporting such groups is declared innocent by those parliaments. These people have turned a blind eye to the truth and think that any Rwandan who gets another nationality can then come back and try to destabilize Rwanda. It became necessary that we speak on this, as we did last time, so that we can show that what the European Parliament did is too much and infringes on the leadership of other countries, ignoring that Rwanda is an independent country with its own sovereignty and that it has laws it abides by, that the judiciary is independent and does not take instructions from anybody as our constitution requires, as well as international norms. That resolution by the European Parliament, with all its articles, is a clear violation of the country's sovereignty and is disrespectful. It also negates the 1994 genocide that was perpetrated against Tutsis. When that genocide occurred, they were there, and yet said nothing as children and the elderly were dying, their bodies thrown into lakes and rivers, with other victims left strewn all over the hills. Babies were being bashed against walls, and yet none of them said anything. Now they are quick to talk about Rwanda when we've become a country that protects the lives of its citizens and promotes unity and reconciliation. Now that Parliament decides to adopt such resolutions that both negate and deny the genocide.
The two parliamentary committees issued the following joint resolution on the matter. The baseless claim by the European Parliament that Paul Rusesabagina will not get justice in Rwanda is hereby denounced, and it should be remembered that many criminals extradited back to Rwanda from Europe and elsewhere received proper justice in Rwanda's courts.
bahawe ubutabera buboneye n'inkiko z'u Rwanda.
The resolution was approved by both chambers of Rwanda's parliament and after being finalized will be translated and delivered to different institutions that include the European Parliament, the African Union, and the East African Community.
Now, some residents of Nyamagabe district are deeply concerned about the number of COVID-19 cases that continue to be identified daily in the district, more than in other districts apart from the city of Kigali. These residents complain that some of the patients who are in the home-based care are not actually staying home but are found moving around without permission from the health authorities. For the last week, Nyamagabe district has been coming in second place after Kigali in daily figures released by the Ministry of Health for new cases of COVID-19. These figures are of concern to people in this district who believe they might be placed under lockdown in the near future. Kijeme Hospital Director Dr. Nzaboni, COVID-19 and the involvement of the population in the testing, there has been an increase of COVID-19 positive cases in this district. Since January this year, health authorities in Nyamagabe district have conducted more than 2,800 tests, and among these tests, more than 415 people have been found positive for COVID-19. Currently, about 200 are receiving care from their homes. And Southern Province Governor Mrs. Kaitesi Alice says that there are still a large number of people violating the COVID-19 prevention guidelines in this district. But however, there are ongoing campaigns to fight the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic in Nyamagabe district. Moving ahead, the Rwanda Agriculture Board, in collaboration with the Eastern Province, have decided to help maize seed multipliers in Rwamagana district who incurred losses after their crops failed to develop as they were supposed to. Ghislaine Mugwaneza has this report.
Maize seed multipliers that cultivated maize in Rwanda marshlands have said that they're facing a problem of having no maize harvest because of the fact that their corn seems to have fully developed. But when you peel back the outer sheath, you find a different story altogether, with the cobs visibly not properly matured and full of defects. They say they are now in a serious financial trouble. We're urging the Ministry of Agriculture to look at the potential of the farmer, as this loss is more severe for the farmer who applied for a loan and invested in agriculture and then lose and get auctioned off after because of the fact that he invested and did not get paid. The farmers also say that RAB owes them 60 million Rwandan francs, a thing they mention as an addition to their loss. We supplied the harvest in June 2020, but until today, we have not been paid, and now our children are sitting and not studying. We don't know the role of RAB to us. Eastern Province officials have said that there are farmers that have no skills in utilizing hybrid maize seed. They have a plan to work on this problem to find a solution, as explained by Fred Mufuruki, the Eastern Province Governor.
The
first thing is that we're going to accompany them. That is to say that in the next season, we will provide them with everything they need for cultivation. And the second is that the money they're claiming will be paid to them before the end of this February. Third is that the best way to teach is to link them to experienced entrepreneurs who will work with them and have agreements.
RAB officials say that to solve this problem of low skills, it will be linking juniors with more experienced ones so that they gain more skills.
We have now set up the requirements that one should have to cultivate and multiply hybrid maize seed. The unqualified one will work with other 20 entrepreneurs that are capable of doing it. I can give you example that those ones are entering the phase of exporting seeds, so we cannot build that technology in low-skilled farmers. The plan is to link the low-skilled multipliers to the high-skilled ones so that they can work together, because there are things you can ask the low-skilled farmer to do and he wouldn't do it because of having low capital.
kuko niyo bamubwira ngo hakora gutya hari ibyo atazakora kubera ko adafite na capital.
There are currently 15 institutions that multiply hybrid maize seed in Rwanda, covering more than 2,000 hectares. Ghislaine Mugwaneza, reporting for RTV.
Thank you, Ghislaine, for that report. As operations continue to establish the entire necessary infrastructure for the extraction of methane gas in Lake Kivu to be used for power generation, authorities say the first 15 megawatts will be available in June this year.
On the shores of Lake Kivu, in Nyamyumba sector, pipeline construction work is underway, where Shema Power Lake Kivu Limited, which will generate methane gas from Lake Kivu, is located. Pipes are being established along the hilly lands and will be used to receive the extracted gas. Large water pipes have been established 5 kilometers into the lake, and red indicators were put to help those using waterways not to destroy them. These waterways will be linked to other pipes that will be put 350 meters depth of the lake. With Lake Kivu having 500 meters of depth, this is where methane gas will be extracted and distilled from water. Engineer Simomana Laurent says the distilled gas will be transferred to the other side of the industry, where it will be used to generate electricity.
We
will transfer the gas to another large washing tank where we distill it from, because we need methane gas only. We then send it through other pipes to supply other generators, and after, those generators produce electricity, which we then put in the power line of REG. This is part of the first phase of the work being carried out, where it is expected to be completed by June 2021, so that the plant will be able to provide the first phase of 15 megawatts of power. The entire methane gas project, which is expected to produce 56 megawatts of electricity, will be built in 4 phases that will cost more than $400 million. Once completed, the power will be channeled through the REG-wide power network, which has a capacity of 220 kilovolts, but before being distributed, the power will be reduced from 220 kilovolts to 30 kilovolts. The power will first be controlled at a power plant built in Murambisel in Rubavu sector. This will solve the problem of power shortage, as explained by Butela Laurent, the Rwanda Energy Group Rubavu District Branch Manager. We currently get power from Karongi and Musanze power channels. That means that any problem from the 2 channels leads us to power cutoff in Rubavu. Having the Rubavu substation will help us know exactly where the problem happened from and be able to solve it quickly, because it's nearer. On a high average, I can assure Rubavu district residents that power cutoff is going to be permanently solved. Construction works for the methane gas extraction, which will be controlled at the Rubavu substation, has reached 40% completion. Some of the power supply equipment have been delivered, including poles and power regulators, where the first phase of the project has cost more than 1 billion Rwandan francs. Once this energy is put into use, it will solve the problem of power cutoffs and the problem of less electric energy, which led to the damage of residents' equipment. Some equipment like fridges would be damaged when power cutoff happens. It has been a big problem. Sometimes we'd lack electricity due to less electric energy. But because the power plant is near us, we'll get power on a daily basis, which will help us. Rubavu District Mayor Habyarimana Gilbert says the methane gas extraction project will help residents to get power. In addition, the project provided job opportunities to some residents.
As
part of the 7-year government program, which will end in 2024, we have hope that all residents in Rubavu district will be having electricity, which will help them in development activities. In Rubavu district, Figures show that 73.4% of the population has access to electricity.
Moving ahead, the International Organization for Migration, IMO Rwandan branch, has donated equipment to help in the fight against the spread of COVID-19 in refugee camps in the country. As Martina Avera reports, the equipment was supplied as part of solving the problem of lack of reliable information in a timely fashion regarding COVID-19 prevention measures.
Refugee camps in Rwanda are among areas which were mostly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, especially that they were densely populated. Equipment including loudspeakers, power generators, and other aids to help in the prevention of the spread of COVID-19, such as face masks, hand sanitizers, volunteer clothing, and billboards, all valued at 60 million Rwandan francs, is a donation that the International Organization for Migration handed over to Prison Fellowship Rwanda. The communication officer at the IOM, Mabosa Ivin Amokelani, says the equipment will be used to spread the information about the COVID-19 pandemic, and other equipment will help in preventing the spread of the virus in refugee camps.
Yeah, of course. There's a lot of, in the refugee camp, there's a lot of misinformation about COVID-19, obviously. And also, so it's important to have this kind of equipment to spread the messages and to make sure that people are safe and they are educated about COVID-19. And also, not just for COVID-19, this material will go beyond COVID-19, even post-COVID-19. It can be used for other diseases, for example, Ebola or anything.
The Deputy Executive Director of Prison Fellowship Rwanda, Ntwari Jean-Paul, says the equipment are crucial to refugees in the fight against COVID-19, which will help the organization attain its mission to fight the spread of COVID-19 and other pandemics like Ebola. As you know, refugees live in congested areas, which is like one home, with very many people, approximately 17,000. Mostly, it's us who help them to know what to do and what not to do, considering the situation we are in. I think the equipment will help us to reach as many refugees as possible easily. Together with other partners, the target we have in fighting the spread of this virus in refugee camps. The energy invested in wasn't in vain because we didn't have many cases in refugee camps. He also assured that those tools will not only help in the fight against COVID-19, but also other problems faced by refugees will be solved as there will be an easier prevention campaign. These equipment will as well help us to eradicate some of the problems faced by refugees, including drug abuse, informing them about the laws that govern them so that they can abide by them, plus other problems like diseases affecting refugees in general. The equipment is expected to be distributed immediately to all refugee camps in Rwanda. Martina Ebera, RTV News.
Now, farmers in Ruhango and Kamonyi districts are happy that their cooperative provides them with 30% of the processed rice for their families, and compared to other cooperatives that require their members to buy the rice as any other customer would. These are rice farmers from Kamonyi and Ruhango districts who are members of the cooperative Cooperatives of Mukunguri Swamp have expressed joy about this initiative. The Mukunguri Rice Promotion and Investment Company is a rice processing company in the Mukunguri Swamp with a capacity of processing about 40 tons per day. Kamonyi District Mayor Tuizere Tadeo is urging various cooperatives to give its members contribution to the food security process. The cooperative is made up of 2,000 members and cultivates rice on 520 hectares. The cooperative has 70% shares in the Mukunguri Rice Promotion and Investment Company, and they export all the rice cultivated. On behalf of the entire news and technical team, led by News Director Janvier Murenzi and cameraman Ali Butare, thank you very much for being with us. My name is Sam Kalisa. Please do remember that the plan is still the same. Let it not be you or me to contract or spread COVID-19. And together, we can carve down the spread of the virus. Till next time, have a good evening and a fruitful week ahead.